Hello everyone, welcome back to Hero Wars Guide. We got the game data update for the new hero event, so I want to talk about that and the event value. Anyone who watched the live stream or recently refreshed on other new hero events will see that these tasks and milestones are very familiar. We've got the normal login and VIP, buying emeralds, which is never worth it if there's not a 4x. And then spending emeralds up to 120, big target there. Finishing all of the 35 tasks, 5 per day on the event map. Energy up to 18,000, which is a high number, but for a 7-day event isn't as bad per day as a lot of events. Outland up to 250, which is very high. And then tower up to 120. So hopefully some of you saw my note or otherwise knew to hold off on the tower today. All right, so let's take a look at the value. Okay, first notes here, you'll see that the rewards are genie coins. This is modeled off of the Amira event, but they're really all exactly the same. So anytime it says genie coin or lamp scroll, it's going to be something else for this event, but they'll function the exact same way, where you get 6 of these scrolls. That gives you 1 battle against the map boss. And then you get 1,500 coins for that, which can then be used to exchange for items or other things in the shop. My emerald value for the genie coin here is something like 0.32 emeralds. And the reason for that is just if you look at most of the items in the shop, in particular the good ones, things like a Mort card, the event coin cost is substantially higher than the emerald cost. Basically, you'll have to multiply the event coin cost or divide it by roughly 3, and that will be the emerald cost. So these values will work the same way. If you divide the genie coin roughly by 3, that's the amount of emeralds that it's worth. And again, not exactly 3, I think it's 3.2 or 3.1 something, but it's in that realm. Okay, so I'll start this off at the free-to-play level here, and this will, as always, be based on the assumption that they're going to give us 500 energy on the community page, and that you are getting an 8th day out of the event. As you can see here, the tower here is free with the 8th day. It would have cost a little bit to open up to get all the way through this task if you only have 7 days. You can see if you do nothing but show up in this event, you'll get about 10,000 emeralds worth of value, and it'll all be in these lamp scrolls, which then convert to the coin. Then assuming we don't have a 4x, then you probably don't want to buy the emeralds. But if you do, you can see you get about 1/3 of the value back. So if you have a times 3 and you bought exactly 90,000, then it works out to be essentially a 4x sale. But if you don't have the times 3, then it's definitely not worth it. And even if you do, you have to buy almost exactly 90,000 to get a worthwhile amount there. So again, I don't think this is going to be a good time to buy unless there does happen to be a 4x sale kicking in part of the event. You can also see here that some of the best returns come in at the end. So, if you complete this partially, you're not getting some big credit for getting only the early milestones done or anything either. Okay, so moving on, let's take a look at the energy chart. You can see there's an enormous spike here at 4,000 energy. You get a big, way more than you pay in for this milestone here, and then it drops down to more normal levels for the rest of the event. All of these where you can see this one's 71% at 6,000, 47% at 8,000, back up a little bit to 56, and then 50 at 12,000. These are all good. 50% ROI on energy spending. It's all a little bit better than your typical in raw emerald value. So that's pretty good. And then it drops down a little bit here at the end. These are what I'd call slightly below average returns here at 34% and 33% in the final milestones. And then taking a look at the Outland Chest task, the other one where you might be thinking about doing some spending. Outland Chest, generally a good place to spend emeralds because skin stone is one of the most needed resource types. So you can never go totally wrong spending here. That said, this event does pay out a little less well than many of them. with the peak milestone here being just above 50%. Still better than most of the energy milestones we just looked at. So again, Outland, not a bad way to go about it. But many events have, of 60 to 100%. So maybe not the most exciting, but take what we can get here. And then you can see it drops down, but stays pretty good here all the way up to 150. Really everything after 100 drops down to kind of less and less exciting levels, but then it gets down way down at the 200 and 250 stage to about 10%, which is really pretty horrible, especially for Outland chests, which is often one of the best tasks out there. So if you're picking and choosing your events, this maybe is not the most valuable to go all the way through the Outland task here. Okay, but if we were going to take a look at what maybe some moderate spending would look like after factoring in the spend emeralds as well, let's say we're going to get to 100 Outland chests and maybe 12,000 energy, something like that. Then, yeah, okay, so just spending that amount of energy in Outland is going to cost you just under 12,000 emeralds, but then there is a 12,000 milestone here for spending emeralds, so you may as well get to that point. So this is kind of what a moderate amount of spending emeralds might look like for the event. You'll spend 12,000. You'll get about the roughly 10,000 for free added on to that, another 8,700 based on the spending that you've done. You still get a pretty nice ROI out of that. And that should have you coming out of this event with about 59,000 genie coin in total. So if you're thinking about what you might want to buy in the shop, here's your amount of coin that you might come out with if you hit this level of milestones. You may get some amounts above and beyond that from guild gifts and that sort of thing if people in your guild are buying the bundle. In my opinion, those methods of spending are generally less effective than the 4x. So my guildmates will almost never see any gifts from me on those things, but if you're the sort of player that is looking to max out this new hero right away, and there are a lot of people predicting that this will be the most effective tank in the game, then you very likely will have to spend to do it, especially if you're looking to not only get the hero to max or pretty far along in the evolution, but also the 2 skins, which are going to be available in the shop. Okay, I mentioned the shop, so let's take just a few seconds to look through that as well. This is the live stream that Daniel went through. So he scrolls through the items here. I'll talk about that briefly. Book of Tales and Trine, these are both what I call critical path fragments, meaning that in the missions that you need to run in order to get fragments for these things, the fragments that you're seeking are the most needed from those campaign missions, which makes these pretty good buys as opposed to something like the Cosmic Tremor, where many of the fragments that you need to build one of these are going to come for free as you run missions that have other more needed fragments from them. So these trines, for example, are composed of Minotaur Head, Hand of Glory, and the Desert Blade, and all 3 of those, where the missions that those are available, they're the most needed fragments. So that makes this a pretty good buy. The coin to emerald exchange rate is not the best, but in terms of fragment demand level, this one's okay. It's not what I would call the best. If we scroll a little bit longer here, you'll see one more card. This is where I'll probably spend the majority of my coins. Staff of Neutralization is not very good. Staff of Power is made up entirely of critical path fragments for most people, so that's an okay target. These 2, I think, are among the best strict raw emerald value, but I think they're bad buys because, in particular, this blued plate armor is made up mostly of spare parts. The blued plate armor recipe fragment, for example, is something that you're going to have thousands of extra already in your inventory, so I think you're better off buying the raw components like the Lemort's card that we just saw rather than those. And then this Alucard's amulet, I think, is a slightly lower emerald value again, but this one is made up again of critical path fragments. The recipe here that you can see, lycanthrope fangs and the hearts, all critical paths. So this is a good one, especially if you have lots of agility heroes. You'll need many of them. This one's bad. You'll get these for free. Not many heroes need them. This one's terrible. The oppressor crown there, just because the recipe is you'll have thousands of extra there. This devourer and the dragon heart are both good, although you'll need fewer of these, and you get a lot of them on the tower. So particularly if you're a low spender, you'll probably get what you need out of the tower. If you're a big spender, this is a good one to get as well. And then here's just kind of like trading back your coins into the dolls, or the whatever they're called, the 6 things you need to start a boss fight. I'm not really sure why this is here, unless you really like running that boss fight over and over again. Okay, so that's the items. The other things to look at in the shop are the hero souls. Who knows exactly how this event doll is going to run, but in the last several hero events, it is more cost effective to just buy about 11 of these dolls and open them. That costs roughly the same amount of coins that you would spend here to get the hero. And there's no guarantee, it is random number generator. You may get less, but on average, you'll get the 30 soul stones out of these dolls, plus, a small amount of other things like the glyph enchantment runes and other little trinkets. So usually my approach is to get 10 or 11 or something of these. I'll get the hero for cheaper and then get a few spare coins in addition to that. This skin box is probably the most controversial topic here on this event, and I'll get into that in a second as he opens it up and shows the contents here. But just remember here that the cost for this is 3,500 coins. And again, if you remember that ratio of coins to emeralds, then that would suggest that this should on average be worth about 1,200 emeralds. But then he's going to open it up here in a second, and we'll get to see what the actual prizes are. You can see that there's a chance of gaining one of the 2 skins in addition to the default that will be immediately available to Mushy and Shroom. We had a similar pattern here in the Stellar skin event. However, when you hit those skins, they came in at level 40, and it would appear based on this that when you get these skins, they're only level 1. So effectively, these prizes are worth quite a bit less because the level 40 costs thousands of skin stones. So these grand prizes are far less valuable than the Stellar skin grand prizes that we had some months ago. Okay, and if we look at what are the rest of the prizes here, eventually so we see there were the 2 skins up above. I convert all of those to 5,000 skin stones. That's worth about 7,500 emeralds. So if you do hit one of those grand prizes, it's worth 7,500. It costs only 1,200 to do. But they mentioned the bad luck protection kicks in at 30. Maybe your chances of hitting one of the grand prizes is a little better than 20, and it really does take bad luck to get it automatically at number 30. But even so, that's 6 times the price of 1,200 emeralds is the grand prize. But it's probably something like 1 out of 20 to actually get the prize, maybe as bad as 1 out of 30. Your returns from the grand prize are far below average out of the rest of the items in the shop. And then if we take a look at what else is there, a lot of the prize options here are skin stones, which are great, but we're talking maybe an average of 75. You get 150 out of this one. And then there are some lesser prizes as well. These Outland coins you want to exchange for skin stones, but that's at a 5-to-1 ratio. So, this one's worth 80 and the others are worth less skin stones. And then gold, which is basically worth nothing, is after you've been around for the game in any case. So, you're looking at an average emerald value here of maybe something like 80. and the cost was 1,200 emeralds. So anytime you're not hitting the grand prize out of one of these, it's a gigantic cut in the value that you could have received from spending somewhere else. And that's in order to take a shot at winning one of those two grand prize skins up at the top. He did say that this will be the only way that you can get these skins, at least for a while. But given that they're coming in at level 1, I expect the average value out of this thing to maybe be something like 500 emeralds or something, including hitting these grand prizes at a slightly better rate than the bad luck protection, which is maybe being optimistic. Maybe this thing's worth somewhere between 300 and 500 emeralds, but it costs you 1,200 emeralds worth of event coins. So really, to get these skins, it's a giant reduction in the value that you may be receiving. So it's a bit of a gamble, and it's a question of how excited you are about this hero, how willing you are to wait. But for myself, with that drastic decrease in value, I'm not going to go open these skin boxes myself. I'm going to assume that at some point they will unlock these skins for purchase through the normal system. And like I say, for any new hero coming out, I've been playing this game for a while. It's realistically going to be 6 months to a year at best before I've got a hero invested in all the different aspects they need to really be competitive anyway. So I'm just going to wait and hope that I can use these resources to get a high value now and get these things later on through the normal means without sacrificing a lot of extra emerald value here. If I'm wrong, it'll be a shame, but then it's just one less hero that I have to worry about maxing, because if this hero just on my account is missing these 2 skins forever, then it's a dead hero as far as I'm concerned, and I would just never develop it. It does seem unlikely to me that is the route that they will go, though, just because then any account created in the future would never have an opportunity to get these 2 skins for this hero. We have not seen many exclusive skins in the past. We did see them in the Eternal Summer season, but that, even though that was a one-time event, new players will have that season at some point, so everyone does get a chance to buy it, whereas this event is most likely only going to come around this once. So it would be very surprising to me if they never open up any other chance to get these skins again. And if and when they do, it will probably be at a much better exchange of value than this particular shop option is offering. So I may be getting a little long-winded here, but that's my opinion on the shop and how you should spend there. And in my case, I'm going to roll the dice and hope that I get these things later, in the 12 months before the earliest chance that I would maybe be playing this hero anyway. I've got too many other things I'm working on to really want to build up yet another hero anyway. All right, so that's my 2 cents on this event. Hope this gives you something to think about and helps you plan how you're going to approach it and get the best results out of the shop. I'll see you again next time.